I'm still working on my small batch cookbook, so that's why Joe is kind of running the show for me right now. But today I tested 3 different recipes, and I wanted to share with you while I'm editing the video and editing the recipes. I wanted to share with you the 3 recipes that I tried. Welcome to the Bare Pantry Show. If you want to learn how to cook in simple steps and have your dishes come out great the first time, then you're in the right place. Learn to make restaurant-style meals, comfort foods, and authentic Belizean dishes from basic ingredients.
Hello people, this is Country Joe here with you guys today. Today I'm doing a barbecue because it's my son's birthday. He was born on Father's Day 32 years ago. So because it's his birthday, I got to do a barbecue for him. But so in that case, I gonna forfeit my Father's Day just to do his barbecue. So what can I say?
Joe is so funny, guys. He knows he was the happiest person on the face of the earth when Joshua was born 32 years ago on Father's Day. So let's make this bread. We're gonna need water, yeast, all-purpose flour, sugar, salt, but only if you're using an unsalted butter. My butter is salted, all right? It calls for evaporated milk, but I'm going to switch it out to lactose-free milk because I want to eat some of it. So this is some warm water and active dry yeast. And I'm going to steal some of the sugar from the allotment of sugar. And then I'm going to find something to stir this with. Let me get a spoon or something here. Give this a stir. And then go ahead and set this aside for about 5 to 8 minutes, all right? So let me set this aside and then work on the dry ingredients. So this is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And then I'm going to put the rest of the sugar. This is where you would add the salt if you were using salt. Let me go ahead and put the butter in. Notice it's not a whole lot because it is a small batch after all. Let me go ahead and cut this butter in. And then add the activated yeast. And I used 2 ounces of water to activate the yeast. I feel like it's going to be too much liquid if I use all this milk. So let me put a little bit. Yeah, this is already too wet, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and form this into a ball, into a dough ball. And then I think what I'm going to do is just do another recipe like this right away. So let me set this ball aside for a quick second to activate the yeast again. Same amount of yeast, but this time only 1 ounce of water instead of 2 ounces. And then I'm going to use some of the sugar from the allotment of sugar. Give it a stir just like before. And then set this aside and go back to the original dough because this is not the kind of bread that's going to rise twice, so I can't let the dough sit for too long. So let me go ahead and knead it up. I needed a lot of flour because it was super sticky. So now let me cut it in half. It's only going to make 2, okay? So smooth off the top. Work it around like a mushroom. Pinch the bottom. And then just kind of roll it between the palms of your hand. Or hands, 2 hands. Set it aside and then work on the other one. Okay, pinch it. And then set this aside. Okay, so now let's work on the other recipe. I've added the sugar and then the butter. I'm going to do basically the same thing I just did, all right? Work the butter in and then add the activated yeast mixture. It's not a lot of liquid because we only used half an ounce of water, right? Now let's add the milk. I have 1 ounce of milk here. And I'm going to go ahead and add it a little bit at a time so I can get a feel for the dough. And I already know I'm going to need more than the 1 ounce. Well, let me use this all up first and then grab some more. So this is another ½ ounce. So 1½ ounce of milk. And then the ½ ounce of water for the yeast. And this feels pretty good. So time to dump it onto the countertop and just get it worked through. You know, in my original book, Beans and Rice Volume 2, I have this recipe in there, but it gives you like 16 to 20 of the rolls. So in the Pantry Laid Bare, my second book, I did the recipe again, and it gives you 5 of the loaves. In this book, the new one that I'm doing, is going to give you 2. Look, the color is a little bit different for the one that has more milk than for the one that has more water. So let me go ahead and get this worked into a ball, just like we did with the original 2 pieces. Roll it, set it aside, and then do the same thing with this next piece, okay? Okay, so let me go ahead and put these on a greased baking sheet. So I'm putting them together to know, which 2 are the correct ones. So here's the recipe, guys. Now let's work on the other bread. This is gonna be the Hawaiian Rolls, and this is gonna be a part of the barbecue that Joe's doing outside right now. It needs powdered milk, and I don't have any, so I'm gonna use Klim. I shouldn't say I don't have any, because this Klim is powdered milk, but this is not the non-fat one that you would expect. Now this Klim is about 10 years old. So for the people who are hitting me up in Facebook asking me, why is my dad's store not open? Where's the website? He shut everything down in 2018 and moved home, guys. So I tested the water to make sure it's hot enough. Put some water in here. It's about a cup, not a cup, a quarter cup of water. And then some active dry yeast. I'm going to steal some of the sugar from the allotment of sugar. I'm going to give this a stir and then set this aside to activate for about 5 to 8 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm going to work on the dry stuff. So this is bread flour this time around, not all purpose, okay? The sugar, the powdered milk. This is where you put the salt if you're using salt. My butter is salted, so I'm not going to put any salt. And I'm not going to put the butter just yet. Alright, the butter goes in last because we want this bread to have a bunch of flaky layers. So let me go ahead and beat up my 1 egg. I'm going to put some water in the dough towards the end. And the reason I'm doing it backwards like this, instead of putting the water in with the yeast, is because it depends on the size egg that we use, that we may need less or more water, okay? So this is feeling pretty good, but I know I need more moisture. I'm making a big mess on my clothes today. So let me put the butter in first. I'm going to cut the butter in. And still, it's not a whole lot of butter. So it's feeling a little bit more moist because of the butter that I added. But now we're going to do water. I'm going to measure out half a cup. I don't think I'm going to need the whole half a cup, but let's see, right? So pour it in a little bit at a time. This is feeling pretty good. I only needed a quarter cup of water, guys. This was enough moisture. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump this from the bowl. Get the stuff off my hands. And then work the dough through. I'm going to stop now and go wash off my hands and dry them off, because that makes handling the dough a lot easier, okay? So let me put some flour down, and I'm using the bread flour also to flour the dough ball. Okay, so I'm going to put it back in the same bowl that I kneaded it up in, because I don't like to do double work. I'm not even going to wash the bowl, okay? Just put it back in, cover it up, and set it aside for 45 minutes to an hour. Meanwhile, let's check back on these. Yeah, these are ready. They're spongy. They only needed about 40 minutes. I'm going to bake these off at 350 for 30 minutes, okay? 350 degrees Fahrenheit. 30 minutes later, see? They're done. Let me go ahead and transfer them off of this to the cooling rack. Look at Joe behind me. He's waiting patiently to make breakfast so we can try these. So I'm going to do my thumbnail and then cut them open. This is the one that has more water and less milk. I don't think they look too much different. This is one that has more milk and less water. And I want Joe to taste and tell me what he thinks. But honestly, guys, Joe thought that they both tasted the same, and they both tasted fantastic. I tried them, and I think the one with the milk tastes a lot sweeter and more rich. But like Joe said, they're both fine. So let's go back to the Hawaiian Rolls. Well, the dough for the Hawaiian Rolls. Let me take my ring off. I'm back to wearing my gold ring that I wore for 25 years of marriage. When we hit 25 years, we switched out to silver rings. And I wore the silver ring for 10 years, but now it's fallen off of my finger. So I think this year for our 35th anniversary, I want to try to get new rings for me and Joe. It's gonna be in December. So what I'm doing here is just rolling the dough into a rectangle because I'm gonna do these folds. Fold it like a letter, okay? Pretty soon we won't be able to say that because I don't think people send letters anymore, right? It's all emails. So let's go ahead and roll this baby out again. We want to do this at least 4 times. So for 4 turns. Work it out. Man, that fridge is just like sounding rickety right now, making a whole bunch of noise. Anyways, I'm widening the dough and then folding, and it gets kind of stiff at this point, so you want to just kind of press on it and give it a moment to relax, okay? So do it 4 times and then cut the dough into 2. Look at the folds. See that? Look at the layers. And then cut it into 2 again, because this is the easiest way to get 8 equal pieces. Into 2 again. And pretty soon you have 8 pieces. So the original recipe for this in the Pantry Laid Bare is for 16. We only want to get 8. So if you have those springform pans that has 3 different sizes, the small, medium, and large, these are going to fit in the small one, okay? Like this. Grease it, put it in. See? And because I am testing a cake today also, I'm going to have to bake these in a toaster oven. But I have to let it rise first for an hour. I heated the toaster oven at 375 for 20 minutes. Then I'm lowering the temperature to 350. Meanwhile, let me put on some egg wash first on this. And I'm just going to go ahead and bake it in here. This is the beautiful part about these small batch recipes that I'm doing too. A lot of the stuff is going to be able to be done in a toaster oven, okay? So it only took 40 minutes and it's ready and it's gorgeous. Here's the recipe, guys. Can you guys see it? This camera is the good camera that's supposed to be able to do like shots like that, where you just do it and just do it. It's doing it, right, Josh?
I'm gonna break that thing.
Do it. Josh said we'll break the camera. Oh! Oh! I could taste the clam. Look at his plate. 2 ribs on whole hot link, 1 piece of chicken on a bread. I don't think this is the healthy balance method, Joel. That's too much meat. The bread's fine, but that's too much meat.
There's no such thing as too much meat.
He has a friend. Look. Look. What a friend Joel has in Wednesday. Wednesday, leave Grandpa alone.
She's torn. She wants the food, but I want her to pet her.
Oh my goodness. So this is it right here. Y'all seeing it. This is my 13-inch. I hope you're not seeing the TV. This is my 13-inch MacBook Pro. And this is my 22-inch screen TV that I bought to do the classes. I'm going to come back to the classes when I'm done, you know. The reason that you're not seeing me do everything that I'm supposed to be doing is because I'm focused on this. You have to focus on one thing to get it done. And right now I want you guys to focus on this cake that you're going to see in my next upload. This is the mud cake, or as I like to call it, the Bruce Bogtrotter cake from that movie Matilda. You're going to love this small batch recipe, guys, because it's only 6 by 2. You're not going to have a whole lot leftovers, all right? Remember, guys, we are not buying this book. Because if you do, the only people that are making money from that book are my ex-distributor and Amazon. Pick up this book instead. This is my Belizean cookbook. It has 120 authentic Belizean dishes that I've done on the show already, but now you can have it in print so you can follow along and your dishes will come out perfect each time. Hot off the presses, this is my second cookbook, guys. It's called the Pantry Laid Bare, and I named it that because I laid everything on a line when I picked the recipes for this book, all right? 111 delicious dishes from basic ingredients. To purchase, just check below on any of my videos and you'll see the different methods of payment and also the shipping. Thanks, guys.
What I do for him from since he was small, from since he could talk. He want barbecue. Daddy, make some barbecue. Ever since and up to now, he's still the same.